Hello, guys, and welcome to another edition of Excel for Data Analytics. And what we are going to actually do today is introduction to the Excel software. We will get acquainted with the features, what each part of Excel does, how to utilize them, and then we are going to just do a basic calculation with Excel. There's nothing much we're going to do, but you're going to pay attention to how each of the features inside Excel work, how they interact, because along the line and as we're advancing in the tutorials, we are going to actually make use of each of every one of them. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, the first feature we are going to look at is the file feature. The file is a feature in Excel that you can actually use to set up different settings in Excel. It takes you to the backstage of Excel where you can open other documents that you've worked on, like you can see here the ones that I have, and also you'll be able to export a file in Excel into different formats like the PDF format. Also, you get to save as from here, print, or as well go to your accounts and do other settings. From the backstage as well, you can go into Excel advanced settings and then do a lot of setup of how you actually want your spreadsheet to work. But then we won't be doing any settings here, but that's just simply how it works. Then secondly, here is the ribbon. This place is called the ribbon. This is where all the commands that you give in Excel would display. So this is the home tab. Everything under the home displays in this ribbon part. So the cut, the copy, the rest of them, the font tab, the alignment tab, number tab, style, cells, and editing all fall under the home tab. Okay, and the insert has also different commands inside of them. Like you can see, we have the segment for illustrations, we have for add-ins, we have for inserting charts, we have for tools, sparklines, and the rest of them. And the same applies to these other ones. Under the page layout tab lists, we can set up our page margin. We can also set up orientation. We can set up the page size. We can also set up print area, background. There is a lot of things that we can do. Then for formulas, here is where we can actually get some of the formulas that we use. Then for data, any settings or any kind of manipulation you want to do on your data, to sort, to filter, whatsoever it is that has to do with data, here is where you can find your settings. Under the data tab, once you click on the data tab, it displays every single thing under the data tab on the ribbon. For review, we also have the same thing, and for view, we have contents that would help you see better what you are working on. For headings, if you don't want headings to appear anymore, you uncheck the box. Same for formula bar. Once you uncheck it, that's how they work. Then for these lines on the workspace, we call them grid lines. So if you don't want the grid lines to appear, you can as well uncheck the grid lines and it becomes a blank sheet. But we can also still see that our spreadsheet understands that each single space is a cell. Alright, so unchecking the grid lines doesn't actually stop the computer from understanding that each segment is a cell. Alright, so our spreadsheet is actually designed in a horizontal and vertical form. That is, horizontal, that's across this way, the A, B, C, D, E, F to Z. Then the vertical, the numbers down. Alright? So an intersection of the vertical line and the horizontal line is called a cell. So it's called a cell. And then a cell is just this box where I typed right now. This very box where I typed right now can move the content of a cell to another cell. So initially this was inside cell A1. Cells are referenced by the intersection of the horizontal line and the vertical line. So this is the A column. This is the A column, and this is line number 1. So the columns are on the vertical axis while the numbers are on the horizontal axis, and then the intersection of both the column and the line number gives us a cell. Now here we have the name box. You can see that this is the name box. Always observe, this name box displays the exact active cell at every moment. Right now the green line is showing round about this very cell, and this very cell is named A1, so it displays on this place. So when you are kind of not sure of the cell that is active at the moment, you can come to this name box immediately and observe. So if my active cell is this, you see the name box changes immediately to the very name of the intersection between the vertical and horizontal line, which is E7. So this is cell number E7, and then it displays in this place. Okay, then this side is called our formula bar. Every content we enter into a cell displays. How the formula bar works: let's say we want to add up two numbers, let's say 12 plus 12. Starting any calculation, you must use the equal sign. So when you use the equal sign and then you enter the two numbers you would want to add up, okay, you can see that right here in the cell you see the calculated formula, and also on the formula bar. But when you click enter on your keyboard, you get the answer, that's the added value of 12 plus 12 in the cell. But the formula bar actually shows the actual content of this particular cell that has 24. It could just be a number 24. It could also be a currency or value in any format. But when you look at the formula bar helps you to know what it is that was calculated in order to have this value 24. Okay, so right here now we have another value 24. When I click on it in the formula bar, it just shows me that this is just number 24. There is nothing being added up, divided or subtracted to give this number 24. But on the other side, on the cell B3, we can see that the value 24 is summed up by addition of 12 twice. Okay, so the formula bar is meant to display the contents of a cell, the actual contents of a cell, or the formula, or however the contents of a cell were arrived at. Alright, so like we've already observed that whenever we click on a particular cell, we see this green box round about it. This green box indicates the cell that is active at the moment. So if you want to type something and the green box is already highlighting this cell number B3, then once you type anything on your keyboard, it means you are erasing the initial contents of cell number B3. So let's say B3 is currently active and I type something else, it automatically removes the former content of it. Let's look at how you can add another sheet to the current workspace that we have. Let's say you want the first sheet to have, let's say, okay, so this is your workbook, which originally comes with just one sheet 1 down here. All right, so let's say you want your worksheet to carry two different information. Let's say expenses, expenses. All right, so if you want to have continuous sheets representing each month, you can actually click on this plus sign here, and then it gives you more sheets into this particular workbook. So one workbook, like we can see up here, book one workbook can contain as many worksheets as possible. So you can keep renaming the worksheets to reflect whatsoever content it is that they have inside of them. So we had January before, now we have February expenses. Okay, I'll just keep it short, and so on and so forth. So just by clicking this plus sign, you add new sheet into your workbook. All right, okay, so when you have so much information on your spreadsheet and you want to see the other ends of it, you can use your right arrow key to move to the right, the same to move to the left. But you can also simply use the scroll bars. So this one down here is the horizontal scroll bar. Because we do not have much content going far into the right, it's just as short as this little default space. So the horizontal scroll bar helps you move to the left or right of your worksheet. Then we also have the vertical scroll bar by the right that helps you move up and down on your sheet depending on the quantity of data that is currently in that sheet. So the more your spreadsheet is populated with data, the more spaces you would have on this vertical scroll bar to scroll down, and on the horizontal scroll bar to scroll either left or right. So let's talk about the quick access toolbar. Okay, the quick access toolbar is located at the top of your spreadsheet. Okay, in my own quick access toolbar, I have a shortcut to save my document instead of going through clicking file and then having it display, then going down to select which one it is that I want. So I have my quick access toolbar with the save button here, the button to undo maybe an error or something that I do not want included in my work anymore. Then if I have made some undos, then I will be able to redo that same thing. But for now, I do not have any content to redo. Then I have the form. The form also is part of my quick access toolbar. And then I also have a preview of the document that I am working on. Let's say I just want to see what it would look like when printed on paper. I can just click on this print preview button, and then it displays what it would look like when printed on paper. Okay, this is just how the little content of my worksheet will display on paper when printed. Then this drop down arrow gives you access to customize your quick access toolbar. So they are listed out here. If you want to be able to add a new sheet with the quick access toolbar, you can add or remove whichever icon or shortcut you want or do not want from displaying at this top. So currently I have a check on the save, the print preview, the undo, and then the redo, which is why I have them displayed here. So if I also want to be able to insert a new workbook, then I would check the new icon, the new option here, which automatically brings in this new icon at the top for me to easily click and have a new workbook opened. Then if I want to open documents already saved in my computer, I can also click on this open option here to add it to the quick access toolbar. The same with the rest of the options provided in these customizable settings. So for the next one we are going to do, which is checking out how the status bar works, then I'll populate my worksheet with some data so that we can be able to see how the status bar and some other features work. Okay, so I want to fill in what we spent. Okay, so I have just a little number of data in my worksheet right now, so I just imputed items and the amount of money spent on each one of them. And then for gas, we spent 300 naira. For printing, we spent 600 naira. For food, we spent 500 naira. And for haircare, we spent 300 naira. Okay, let's assume this is expenses for the month of January. Now when you highlight all of these and then look down here, you just get a quick summary of what you have selected. So average of all four values is 550 naira, the average of selected cells. And then it tells you also how many of the values you've selected. We've selected 4 cells, and then the sum of these numbers, it just tells you that the sum of them is 2,200 naira. Okay, so the status bar is just to give you a high level view of whatsoever it is that you are doing over here. Excel knows when you are selecting numbers to give you a quick calculation of them, of the numbers you've selected, and when you have selected just text to just give you a count of the number of cells you've selected is 5. So it's just that simple. The status bar displays a quick information about whatsoever it is that you have selected. If you just have one single item selected, then it has nothing to actually show you. Okay, the sheet tab scroll. So we have how many sheets here? We have about 6 sheets currently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have 5 sheets here, but then assuming we add more number of sheets, okay, and then here gets covered and stacked together. Now we will not be able to see some other ones that are hidden right now. So how do we get to see those ones that are hidden? You can use this arrow here to, move to the right to see all sheets that are in the hidden part of these sheets tab, or to also go in the left direction to see the ones that are hidden in the other sheets tab direction. Okay, so you can name your workbook with whatsoever it is that you are working on. For example, this workbook is currently not named, so it carries the default name book 1 Excel. Okay, so to name your workbook, you click on the file and then you click on save as and choose where you want your information to be saved into. So I want to save it into documents, so I select the book and then delete it off and then call it beginners. And then inside, by default, it carries the XLX format, which is format extension for Excel workbook. So you just click save and then you have your workbook saved with the new name that you just entered, which is called beginners. Now here is the title bar. It tells you the name of the document you are working on and the kind of document it is. If it's a CSV file, then it's going to show .csv instead right at this title bar. We already mentioned about the ribbon earlier, right? So the ribbon displays the hidden commands under each of these tabs, but we can also actually make the ribbon not to display at all. If you do not want the ribbon displaying, like sometimes when I want more space on my screen, I can just hide the ribbon from displaying. Okay, if you want it back, you can just click on whichever tab you want its content to display, and then the ribbon expands them for you. If you do not want them, then once you click out, it hides again. But now if you want them to stay, the simple thing you will do is to just click on this pin at the top by the right. Once you click on the pin the ribbon option, it pins the ribbon on your screen, so it will no longer be hidden. Okay, you can also choose how you want your ribbon contents to display by going to this icon up here at the right, ribbon display options, and then when you click it, you would select either to auto hide ribbon, that is, hide the ribbon automatically, or show tabs. You can also select that you want the ribbon to just show the tabs, to show the commands, then, or you can select show tabs and commands. So currently we are showing both tabs and commands on our ribbon, but if you select show only tabs, it will just show us these tabs. It will not display the tabs and the ribbon until we select one tab. Once we click out, it hides, but we do not want this. I always prefer that my ribbon displays the contents of my tabs. Okay, let's see what the auto hide looks like. So the auto hide hides every single thing from the top of this screen, which is not ideal because I want to see what it is that I am working on at any time. You can also select how you want the page you are working on to display. So to see this page in different ways, we are currently viewing the page in a normal mode, but you can also click on page layout icon to view the page in a page layout format. Okay, so it shows you that all contents in this particular area is going to appear on one page, while contents extending to the right will appear on a separate page. Then this one begins a new page. Alright, so till I come your way again, this is just the basic introduction to the interface of Excel. Bye for now.